Hi, I'm Freddie.
And I'm Chantel.
From His,
Hers, Marriage.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great segment here, and I think it's a great opportunity, and it's a unique form that we're going to use today, and it deals with some unique topics, and I think that both couples in a relationship as well as marriage can relate to.
Yes. Well, today's topic is never assume,
always confirm.
And this is something that's kind of like a little saying that we have and we've established over the years, because we used to sometimes do a lot of assuming towards one another rather than really confirming to know whether or not if that was really what was going on and whether or not it was really factual. And so we're just going to kind of discuss this today when we say never assume, always confirm, because a lot of times when we're in relationships or in marriage, we have a tendency to assume what that other person is thinking or how they're thinking towards us, and many times those assumptions are negative assumptions rather than positive assumptions. It's like we immediately go and in our insecurities, come up, and we have a time where we instantly go into assuming negative things rather than really getting the facts about what's going on.
And oftentimes when you have those type of feelings, that's from a previous hurt, a previous rejection. And men and women have the same insecurities. And if we felt that we were taken advantage of in the past, immediately anything that has the resemblance of that hurt, it comes right back as if it's there, just like with post-traumatic stress disorder. A sound, a smell, or an incident, a walk, a look. Immediately we go back to that negative result, and that's when we begin to assume. We talk about this. We have a subchapter in our book about this topic right here that we're going to talk about, and we're going to do it from a his, and a hers.
Right. Well, basically, I'm going to just give you an example, ladies. Like, just say, for instance, if your husband comes home from work and he's kind of like on edge and he's snapping at you or something like that. As ladies, we naturally go into this defensive mode, and we feel like, well, is it something that we did, or why are you coming home being upset with me? I didn't do you nothing, and so we immediately think that it's dealing directly with us, rather than and at one point in time in the beginning part of Freddie and I's marriage, and he would because his job can be stressful and everything, and he would come home and he would seem like he would be on edge because he had to basically decelerate from the day. And so what I at first used to feel as though he was upset with me, not realizing that he was carrying those stresses from that day, and he needed that time to just kind of wind down. And so, I was the closest person to him, and then a lot of times he would lash out. But then once I began to realize that, then I began to understand what I needed to do to prepare the home to give him that time.
And what Chantel is talking about, and as she was giving her segment, I started rehashing, reliving the events in my initial profession. There's a stressful things that I would see on an everyday basis. And I didn't know how to transition over to be a husband, to be a father, and to be a lover. And I had the tendency to bring those home, and she didn't understand. And we were taught to suck it up and not to release our emotions and let others see them. But I had to go through that cycle in which I had to trust that I can speak with Chantel and give her that assurance that everything's okay. Because she started to assume the worst. But didn't understand until I broke down and explained it to her.
Right. And then we were able to go through that process, and all that assumption went out the door, and we was able to go forward.
And one of the things too is that scenario always confirm before you start assuming. And often we have the tendency to go on the negative, and Chantel talked about it, the tendency to look at the negative on every aspect. No matter what goes on, what positive appearance, it's going to be perceived as negative. Incident that we've had in the past where I had to work long hours. I traveled all over the country, and I was working multiple overtime and special assignments. And she didn't understand, and she had some insecurity and said, well, what is he doing? Why is he not here? Why is he always gone on special events? I was gone, but did not know I was planning for something down the road.
Yeah.
I said, I'm putting some eggs away. I'm putting some goodies away. So when that time comes, we can sit back and twiddle our thumbs.
Right.
And today, because we had the opportunity to build that and not assume, but confirm. And once we got to that point, I had to sit down with her and said, don't fear.
Right.
It's well.
Right.
And I had to sacrifice and do those things and be focused. And sometimes as men, sometimes we go into the shutdown mode.
Yes.
We don't want to talk about it. We just want to do it. We just want to get it done. We're goal-oriented. And our spouses don't understand it.
Yeah.
And so what they do, they begin to assume negative.
Right.
Assume that we're having an affair. Assume that we're doing something that we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But a lot of times is that some of those things that occurred in the past may come up. Right. And give them that false sense of insecurity.
Right, right. And like Freddie was saying, that a lot of times that assumption comes from those previous insecurities. And that was something that I had to deal with from previous relationships, where I was in relationships where I had guys that were not, always faithful. And so, initially when we got married, I automatically went back to that place. And I was immediately assuming the negative rather than realizing that I had a new beginning with Freddie, and that those things weren't going to occur in this relationship.
That's right.
Yeah. So never assume.
Always confirm.
Yes.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're signing off from His,
Hers,
Marriage. Thank you.
Thank you.